Hi guys, and welcome to a new book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Norwegian Wood from Murakami. So I know that it's a very popular book and that a lot of people love this book and that it's really widely acclaimed. It's probably like one of the books that people prefer from Murakami. And it's not the case for me. I think this book is very boring and I think the thing is, it's boring and it's good at the same time. So, first, I finished Kafka on the Shore, which was completely mind-blowing in novelty for me when I read it. And I picked up Norwegian Wood because when I arrived in Japan, a lot of my friends talked about it, they wanted to read it, like my foreigner friends from everywhere in the world. Like they were talking about Norwegian Wood being like the best book you could read, that it's good to read a Japanese author, and that kind of thing. And I never actually picked it up. I was like, Norwegian Wood is like what? I didn't even know what the story was about. I thought it was a Norwegian wood, like a wood in Norway, which it isn't. Uh, so I was really like, for a long time I was like, yeah, I need to read that book. Like, reading that book was more something I had to do than something I wanted to do. But then, because I read Kafka on the Shore, which was fantastic, I decided that I could read Norwegian Wood because it's the same author, so it has to be fantastic. And I was sort of disappointed. So the thing is, Norwegian Wood is just a basic story of a guy's daily life, and he just does basically nothing extraordinary. Everything he does is what everyone would do every day. So he get up in the morning, talk with his friends, go to university. So, and basically that's it. On Sunday he's meeting that girl, and suddenly she's gone. So he's changing his routine. He feels depressed a little bit because he cannot have this Sunday afternoon again and with her. And basically that's the whole book. The whole book is about that. I think this book is very boring because you don't have any point of excitement. You just go through the day just like that and it continues just like that. You don't have any high up and low, and like you don't have any excitement. You don't have anything particularly special. People are going to talk about their past, but it's just like, yeah, that happened to me and I recover, or yeah, that happened to me and I didn't recover, or it's just like very basic and plain. Even when he meets new people, he's just so into his own head that he's just, oh yeah, I met this girl, oh yeah, I kissed this girl, but we weren't really supposed to kiss, so it's okay. Just like that. It's just so plain. Like this guy, I don't know how he haven't get a girlfriend because he's so boring. It's just like the main character is just so plain, like crazy plain. Nothing happened to him, and yeah. So I had trouble really going through that book. I had trouble finishing that book because I was so bored and depressed reading it, because it has like the only thing that's a little bit out of the ordinary is the amount of suicide in the book and the amount of people depressed. It's like the entire society is crazy or depressed or bored, I don't know, or insane. Like, he has this crazy guy who just go out to have sex with girls. So he goes out like, and he pick up a girl and he forget about her the next day, and he pick up another one and he forget about her, and he has a girlfriend. And the thing is, like, okay, it starts with a suicide. So the main character's best friend's suicide, and then so he doesn't, like, the main character sort of brush it off. He doesn't have, I think he's depressed, but he doesn't have the super depressed I'm gonna kill myself style of thing. It's just this plain like, okay, my best friend is dead, it's sad, but I have to continue with my life style. So that's what he is, and his girlfriend, the girlfriend of the best friend, basically the girlfriend of the guy who's died, she gets really depressed. And so they don't meet for a while, and then they accidentally meet, and then he think he's in love with her, because like they meet every Sunday and they walk a lot. If you check out the trajectory of their walk every day, it's just like, it's insane. They do an insane amount of walking, and you think he's in love with her, but I personally don't think he's in love with her. I think he is in love with the idea that he could be his best friend, um, and that she is part of this fantasy. So basically, he really looked up to his best friend. He didn't know why he's like, he doesn't, he looks down on himself and up to that dead guy. Basically, that dead guy was everything. He was good at everything. He was just absolutely perfect in the eyes of the main character, and the main character kind of probably wanted to be that guy, but just that guy killed himself, and now he can take the place of the dead guy. So he has a girlfriend, depressive girlfriend. And the thing is, if you look at the song, so there is a scene in the book where he actually ends up, for the birthday of that girl, he's at that girl's place, and he's like, they're drinking wine and they're having sex, and then she cries a lot. Basically, that's how it happens. And if you look at the book is called Norwegian Wood because of the song of the Beatles called Norwegian Wood. And it's actually, I think it's John Lennon who wrote that, and he thought about his mistress while doing that, because he was having an affair, and he sort of wrote that song about the affair in a way that his wife wouldn't know that he was having an affair. And basically, when that girl who is super depressed ends up going to a place to recover, there is someone who actually plays the guitar there, and she can ask for whatever song she wants. And when she asks for Norwegian Wood, she's going to cry. And if you look at the lyrics of that song and at the things that happen at her place for her birthday with the guy, there is like this kind of similar description, similar feel to it. And so I think it was like really interesting because of that, because it's kind of create a different setting for the song, and it makes that song makes that girl cry, and she got depressed every time. And actually, it's like also showing up the affair that she might have. Like she kind of feels like she's betraying her dead boyfriend with a new boyfriend. So it's kind of like a whole mix of those two combination together. So it makes it like fairly interesting. And then you have, so the girl who plays the guitar, she also has a past. So she explained the past, like once in a while you're gonna get like glimpse of it until the end where she's gonna actually talk about it. And this book is very strange because of the way things develop. So basically, at first you think, okay, the best friend suicide, but then you realize like he's not the only one. Like people around that girl suicide before. She's in the place with all those people who have like suicidal thought and that type of thing. The guy, the main character, is sharing his room with another guy who dropped out of school, and we don't hear about it. So he might also be dead. We don't know. There is all those type of thing like. And he's getting a girlfriend, and like people around that new girlfriend actually die too. So it's very, very crazy what's going on. Like the amount of death is incredible, and the amount of people who want to kill themselves is also incredible. And then it's sort of interesting if you like it's boring while you're reading it, and it's interesting when you analyze it. And it's like Kafka on the Shore was interesting when you read it, and it was like mind-blowing when you analyze it. So I think it's maybe a thing with Murakami is like you have this feeling when you read the book, and then you have a sort of different feeling, different understanding when you start thinking about scene in particular and how they match together. And when you see the development, like, you don't understand why this girl is depressed. Okay, her boyfriend suicided, but it has been like 3 years now, and she was fine for 3 years, and then she started being depressed, and she goes to the recovery center, where everything is fine, everything is good, and then suddenly she starts like being depressed more and more, and you don't even know how, like, you don't even see her recovery, you don't, like, you hear that she's good, you hear that she's bad, but you don't hear how they actually proceed. You just know she's isolated in the mountain with people who have the same problem, but it's really hard to figure out what they're trying to do to her that make her be good at some point, and then what is a trigger to getting good, to get her to go like down again. So it's a bit complicated in that way. And another point that disturbed me about the novel is the beginning and the end of the novel. At the beginning of the novel, the main character is in a plane and they are playing Norwegian wood, and he have like a panic attack. And he's going to Germany, and after that he's gonna like talk about that girlfriend, and we're gonna have his whole story about that girlfriend and what's going on in his life. And when you arrive at the conclusion of the book, it doesn't catch up with the beginning. So basically, he's way better off at the end of the book than he is in the beginning of the book, even if the beginning is after. So there is a gap. So basically, the future that is created at the end of the book doesn't match the future that was at the beginning of the book, because at the end of the book, he doesn't have those trigger with a song, but at the beginning he has it, and it's in the future later on. So that's another point that I was a bit confused about. I was like, is that like a different sort of future that he created, or did something more happen? Did his new girlfriend also kill herself? Like, I had no idea. Like, it was very strange. I was like, at the beginning he's in a plane, he's going somewhere, and he has this panic attack, and you don't know why, and he's gonna explain why, except the way he explained it, it leads to some place where he shouldn't have them. And that's a little bit puzzling for me. So it's like the loop is not looped. It's like it sort of makes him look like a little bit like a unreliable narrator, because he's not actually explaining what really happens to him. He's more explaining what happens to him in relation with other characters without making things match to each other. So it's a little bit troublesome for me. I just wondering, so why was he in the plane? Why was he going to Germany? I know he was learning German, so that's probably he got a job to make something in Germany. But like, why? Like, why would he just like have this trigger, which was not his trigger before, it was his ex-girlfriend trigger? It was like so strange. So yeah, there is a lot of little things like that in this book, and it also treats of the way other people makes you crazy, basically. Like, if he hadn't met with this girl again, like she was a girlfriend of his best friend. The best friend dies, they don't meet each other again for 3 years, and then they accidentally meet each other. And if he hadn't met her again, he wouldn't have any idea about Norwegian wood at all. So the song wouldn't be a trigger for him. He basically took up the trigger that she had. I don't know if he did it on purpose, like a way of remembering her, but it's so strange. And the other thing is, when she dies, he actually goes totally crazy, and he take off for weeks, and he just travel, and he cries, and he's like super depressed, and he's like a hobo basically. And I think it's kind of like a lot of people might think it's focused on the fact that he loved her so much. But at the same time, he already has a new girlfriend by that time. And so, and he said he loved his new girlfriend. So I think it kind of emphasizes the fact that he's not mourning her, he's actually mourning his best friend, or more accurately, the fact that he couldn't take his best friend's place. He couldn't replace his best friend for that girl, because when she was with his best friend, she didn't die, basically. His best friend managed to keep her alive, while he didn't manage to do that. And I think that's another theme, is like how people, like, she made him crazy. She made him, like, go through all of that. Like, because if he had just tried to be his best friend without her, he could have tried his best at university. He could have just tried to be the best person he could be by himself. But since he had this other goal, which was to replace his best friend for that girl, he couldn't actually achieve that, and that's probably what he's mourning at the end of the book, when he moved around by himself. I don't think he's actually mourning her so much, because I never actually felt like he was really in love with her. I think he met her every Sunday because it was a habit. And because he had nothing else to do, he says that normally he would just do his laundry, so he had really nothing else to do. And then he had this other girl who actually fit a lot more better with his personality than the first one. I don't think there was any real way for him to be in love with Naoko, because she was just not, I'm not going to say not his type, but she was sort of the type he created for himself. Like, you have the thing you have subconsciously, and you have the consciously. And consciously, he probably wanted to be in love with her, but subconsciously he couldn't because she wasn't the one. And the new girl is probably a lot better than Naoko for him. But consciously, he has trouble to be in love with her because she doesn't represent the ideal he created for himself. So this book is kind of very deep in a way, and like, if you analyze it, there is a lot to get from it, about human behavior, about suicide, about people making you crazy, about depression, about anxiety, like all that kind of mental illness. It's pretty good in a way, if you analyze it. But while reading it, it's extremely boring and it's extremely depressing, because you just go through the monotonous day of the character with nothing really happening. So I don't know really what to think about this book. I don't know if I like it or if I don't like it. I'm kind of in between. It's not like, I'm not like other people I heard that like, oh my god, this book is fantastic. No, I'm just like, this book is good if you go through the analyzation of it, if you analyze all of it. But it's like, if you just read it and forget about it, it's definitely not that good. So anyway guys, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to subscribe and to give me your comment in the description, like in the comment section below. Don't forget to give me a thumb up, and have fun whatever you do. See you next time for something else. Bye!